You are welcome to our channel. Please remember to give us your thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and also share. In the news, Natasha faces Senate showdown as court send bold message in suspension lawsuit. Justice Binta Fatima Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja has scheduled June 27, 2025 to deliver judgment in the lawsuit filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who is challenging her suspension by the Senate, as reported by Daily Post. Akpoti-Uduaghan, who represents Kogi Central, filed a suit against several key figures: the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and Senator Medawin Imasuen, Chairman of the Senate Committees on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions. A suspension followed allegations of gross misconduct investigated by the committee. After hearing argument from both sides, Justice Nyako announced the judgment date. On the same day, she will also rule on content of court applications filed against both Akpoti-Uduaghan and Akpabio. The Senate legal representative Paul Daudu, SAN, accused Akpoti-Uduaghan of breaching a court order by posting a satirical apology on Facebook. Her legal team, in turn, accused Akpabio of contempt by encouraging favorable public comments from senior lawyer Olisa Agbakoba and Monday Ubani in the media. The court had previously ordered all parties, including Akpoti-Uduaghan, Akpabio, the Senate, the clerk, and Senator Imasuen, to refrain from public comments or social media posts concerning the matter while the case was ongoing. Akpoti-Uduaghan's lawyer, Michael Newman, urged the court to overturn the Senate suspension decision and dismiss the contempt allegations against his client. Meanwhile, their defendants, including Akpabio and the clerk, argued that the Federal High Court lacked the jurisdiction to hear the case and asked for its dismissal. The dispute originated during a Senate plenary session on February 20, 2025. Following the disagreement over seating arrangements, the tension escalated when Akpoti-Uduaghan publicly accused Senate President Akpabio of sexual harassment during a televised interview on Arise News. Following the accusation, the Senate committee investigated Akpoti-Uduaghan, ultimately recommending her 6-month suspension. She then approached the court seeking to halt the investigation, claiming it was a response to allegations against Akpabio. The case was initially assigned to Justice Obiora Egwuatu, who later withdrew following pressure and allegations from Akpabio's associate. The upcoming judgment on June 27 is expected to determine whether Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension stands and whether contempt charges will proceed against the two senators. Well, actually, Nigeria is a country with a law, and we believe that there should be order to in addition to it. So this case, the woman Natasha has every right to approach the court of law if she felt that she has been wrongly punished, and she can also seek redress before the court of law to get justice done on her behalf. Then she will not only see these things until June 7, because that is when the Justice Binta Fatima Nyako court has adjourned. Is a Federal High Court in Abuja. Even June 27, that is the time for judgment, and everybody's hand will be on deck. And what are the major things that the justice is going to judge on? Number one, it has to do with the suspension, whether to reverse it or to maintain a status quo. We are waiting to see, keeping our fingers crossed. Number two, the allegation of contempt. that is already filed by both parties, while Akpabio's party is filing a contempt of court against Natasha's the side, believing that the satirical apology letter that was posted on the Facebook by Natasha is already a show of contempt of court, and believing that the court is going to rule even against Natasha. Also, Natasha's legal team also alleged and accused Akpabio of contempt of court too, because of the fact that they gave audience to legal experts like Olisa Agbakoba even to speak on the matter. That was after the court has already given a gag order on the issue that nobody should say anything about it until the court gives the final judgment on it. So those are the two issues that the justice is expected to give judgment upon. Be it as it may, of course, whoever wins the day, the loser will have to lick their wound. But there are certain things that we need to put into perspective. And why will a Natasha will be suspended? Because looking at the fact that she wants to ask for her right, we are not going to say she's wrong, because based on the narrative, if she feels grieved that the Senate president is already going overboard because of the fact that she wasn't given to his sexual advances allegedly now, and then the next thing the man has to do is to find a way to coerce her even into yielding to his own sexual advances. Those are some of the things that we don't know, but we are hoping it's not so, because the Senate presidency seat is a hallowed thing. The Senate itself is a hallowed chamber. And we also see that, of course, there is a belief in another claim that Akpabio, being the Senate president, decided to use even his power, a stick method, to hit the woman and place her under suspension even without pay. If not for the intervention of some other senators, they even want to include all the staffs that work with her in her office, that they will also be without pay. But that ought not to be. Whichever way, whatever the punishment, what the court of law says is going to overrule every other thing that might have been said, except if the Senate has decided to remain adamant and not to accept the outcome or the judgment of the court of law as regards the matter. So we can see that there is a lot of trouble coming for both parties. If the court of law finds both guilty of contempt of the court, they will both have to face the music. That's just the reality. But then if it is the other way around, of course, each one will go home peacefully, and then we will know the fate of Senator Akpoti Uduaghan Natasha, whether she's going to return into Senate immediately or she will complete a 6-month suspension, which after that she can then return even onto the Senate. So we are keeping our fingers crossed until June 27 to hear the judgment of the Justice Binta Nyako. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe. Don't forget to like.